Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Christmas horror movies. So just bear with me as I go through this list because it's going to be a long video. Now, this is a ranking list, so my absolute favorites are going to be towards the end of this video. Coming in at number 10, a classic holiday movie from the 1980s. This is a classic one that you've heard of. You've probably seen it. It is Gremlins, the evil Furbies, as I called them, because when I watched this movie as a kid, first of all, obviously I loved it, but at the same time, they creeped me out because I don't know how old I was, but I think I was like less than 5 years old. So when my mom got me a Furby for Christmas, yeah, I was a little bit creeped out because the Furby definitely resembles the gremlin. And I don't know if that's on purpose. I don't know if I'm the only person who makes that connection. One of those movies that brought me into the horror genre, that started my love for the horror genre. So, a gadget salesman is on a journey to find a gift for his son for Christmas, purchases this thing called a Mogwai. There are a set amount of rules that you have to follow when you have one of these creatures, such as not exposing them to water or bright light, and definitely not feeding them after midnight, okay? Gives it to his son. Guess what happens? All these rules are broken, and basically this movie is about a gang of gremlins messing shit up, as they say, in the town on Christmas Eve. It's a fun watch. I love seeing all these different little gremlins. They all look different. There's some creepier ones, there's some cuter ones. Like, there's just a whole gang of gremlins. When you break the rules, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. So, this movie got an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes as the critic score. The audience score was like a 78%, so it's not far off. A lot of people love this movie, including myself. It's just a really fun watch that you can throw on the TV with anybody around. It's not like some of the other movies that are going to be on this list that you wouldn't be able to watch with your whole family, okay? Next up, we've got, this is an indie Christmas horror film. It is a newer movie. I just recently watched this movie and I liked it way more than I thought I would, which is a common theme pretty much of any movie that I like. First of all, the plot twist, it's very, it seems like, oh, this is going to be kind of like a family oriented movie at first, and then as the movie goes, it's kind of like, what's going on, like home invasion type thing. And a plot twist, which I will not spoil because I want you guys to watch this movie. It kept me on the edge of my seat. This character named Ashley, now she is a babysitter for the Lerners. Their son, who is 12 years old, that she has been babysitting since he was 8. She's going over to their house tonight to babysit their son while the parents go and have their very special date night. Now, this son has a huge crush on Ashley, and he has a plan to seduce her. Ashley is 17, mind you. This kid is 12, so he thinks he has a shot. And as it goes along, it's just very chaotic, and there's a plot twist. It wants you to think that it's a home invasion movie. And I won't say past that because if I do say past that, it's going to spoil the movie. It'll spoil like the main twist, and I don't want to do that. So I hope that you watch it because it definitely was very enjoyable to watch. Kept me on the edge of my seat. It's a lesser known, but I have heard people talk about it. So I think when it came out, it had a little rave about it, but I want to throw it out there, okay, in case you guys are looking for a Christmas movie that you haven't seen before and you don't want it to be total garbage like anything Lifetime or Hallmark puts out. Definitely check out Better Watch Out, okay? So the Rotten Tomatoes critic score was 89%, which is pretty good. And the audience score was actually 64%. So for the audience members, it's a little more of a toss-up. But yeah, I definitely recommend to check out Better Watch Out. It's on Tubi. It's probably on Prime Video. I watched it on Tubi though, and Tubi's free. It just has ads. So if you want to deal with that, then definitely check it out. Next up, coming in at number 8, we have The Advent Calendar. The Advent Calendar is a French horror movie directed by Patrick Redemond. I don't think I said that right, but please forgive me. Okay, I don't know French. But, anyways, it's about this paraplegic girl named Eva who gets a strange looking advent calendar from her best friend. And with each day, instead of just your normal candies, per day, it gives her a candy. And then it in the wrapper, it tells her what she either needs to do or what's going to happen on that day. And as the movie goes on with each passing day, these events actually take place and chaos starts to ensue, and it only gets worse the closer she gets to Christmas. So each day is different, and a lot of the things that come out of these days are not good. There are sacrifices and people that have to be killed in order for her to keep going, because if she stops, then she is going to get killed. So she basically gets addicted to this creepy German advent calendar that you're just seeing her journey throughout that, and you're seeing the chaos along the way. Definitely not family friendly whatsoever. Do not put this on with your parents, especially parents who do not enjoy horror movies, because it's not going to be a good time. Okay. I definitely recommend to watch this movie. It is actually on Shudder and Prime Video that I know of. So I mean, it's apparently a Shudder original, so definitely check that one out. Another thing I liked about the movie is the ending is kept very ambiguous. So you don't really know exactly what happens at the end, but you do have a good idea. But again, it's not confirmed. Like, it's open to your interpretation of how you took the film. Again, another good Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 80%. For some reason, the audience gave it a 64%. I would have at least put it in the high 70s, low 80s. But again, it's one of those, if you, it really depends. Okay, it's good. There will be movies that are like completely like 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and they're actually good. So it's a toss up. Okay, so I definitely recommend to check this one out. Again, it's on Shudder. Just do it. It's a fun one for sure. Next up at number 7, we've got Krampus. Now, I'm sure that you could have guessed this was going to be on my list. It's a very fun movie. I love the concept of Krampus in general. I just think, like, basically an opposite, like, anti-Santa Claus who punishes naughty kids instead of rewarding them with gifts and eating their cookies and drinking the milk. Krampus is out punishing the naughty ones, and you do not want to be on Krampus's list, pretty much. Krampus is directed by Michael Dougherty. It is starring Toni Collette and Adam Scott. I love Toni Collette. This was before she was in Hereditary, so it gives you a little sneak peek. If you've seen Hereditary, which I highly recommend, it's one of my favorite movies, favorite horror movies of all time. Like, it's on my all-time list. Basically, Krampus is about when a dysfunctional family causes their son Max to lose his Christmas spirit. Max makes a little wish, calls upon Krampus, who is the demon, the ancient demon who punishes naughty kids on Christmas. Basically, this whole family now has to work together to try and save one another from Krampus and his henchmen. Okay, Krampus has multiple henchmen. They are all fun and creative and Christmas. Like, I think my favorite one of Krampus's little henchmen has to be the gingerbread man. Like, That one was just straight up hilarious. I mean, this movie is obviously a horror comedy, really leaning on the comedic side of things. The gingerbread guy, the gingerbread man was just so funny. It's such a fun Christmas horror movie. It's one of the lower rated Rotten Tomato scores on this list. I think the critics only gave it a 66%, and the audience score gave it even lower at a 52%. So it was truly a toss up whether you loved it or you hated it. But it's a fun movie all around. Like, it's at this point, it's a classic, like on my list. So yeah, definitely check this movie out. It's on Max. I think it's on Prime Video as well. Coming up on number 6 on my list is Black Christmas from 2006. It's about a group of sorority girls that get trapped inside the sorority house because of a snowstorm. When there is a serial killer on the loose and they start to fall victim, they must try and fight for their lives to try and get out of the house alive. Well, little do they know that this serial killer, this is his house. This is the house that he grew up in, that he was abused in by his parents. Definitely has the worst Rotten Tomatoes score on this list. The critics gave it a 13%, while the audience gave it a 38%. They really didn't like this movie, but I actually really enjoyed this movie from the original Black Christmas, okay? Because this one's a remake, right? But this one really delves into the serial killer's lore, like his backstory. It's a classic. I consider it a classic at this point. It's a fun remake. It's definitely miles better than the 2019 Black Christmas that Blumhouse tried to push out. I watched it on Tubi, but I believe it's on probably Screenbox. I think it might have been on Shudder. It's definitely on Prime Video. It's really available. Like a lot of streaming services have Black Christmas. Both of them. Coming in at number 5, we've got Silent Night. Now, not to be confused with the other Silent Nights, not the 2021 Silent Night, but the Silent Night from 2012. Silent Night from 2012, which was directed by Stephen C. Miller, is not a direct remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, but honestly, there are some similarities in a couple of the kill scenes. Like, for example, when Santa pushes a girl against the antlers of not a reindeer. That would be funny. Pushes her body into the antlers of a deer head on the wall that kills her, just leaves her hanging up. That is actually directly taken from Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was an 80s Christmas slasher movie with a similar but not the same premise, like not even close, but again, Killer Santa. A recently released convict who wants to reconnect with his daughter and give her a Christmas to remember. He meets his former cellmate who encourages him to return to a life of crime. Killer Santa is at it again, killing off everyone on the naughty list. Again, with the Silent Night, Deadly Night reference, that Santa was killing off people who he saw as naughty. So there's another similarity, but other than the couple of things, there's not too many similarities, so it's not a direct remake. This one got a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics with an audience score, with an even worse audience score of 32%. Now, I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why way less of the audience liked it compared to the critics, because it's usually the opposite. But I, for one, really enjoyed this movie. It had a lot of creative, fun kills in it, and this Killer Santa was a little more creepy. This one I watched on Prime Video. Not sure if it's streaming anywhere else. I think it might be on Tubi as well. But nonetheless, I definitely recommend to check out Silent Night from 2012. All right, guys, I know you've seen this. We've all seen this. This is a classic. This is on most people's list. Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton. This one's family friendly, obviously. It's actually a stop motion animation, which I'm sure you already knew, but my dumbass did not know that until recently, which makes me respect it a lot more. You can't ever go wrong with The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it's literally just a classic. If you've never seen it, it's about Jack Skellington, who is Halloween Town's Pumpkin King. He starts getting bored with his annual routine for Halloween. He accidentally stumbles upon Christmas Town, sees all the bright lights and the warm spirits. He's wondering, wow, what is this? Like, I want to be a part of this. I want to overtake Christmas. So he actually kidnaps Santa Claus because he wants to be Santa Claus. So it's just his shenanigans and his journey through that. And, you know, it's kind of a musical. So there's some classic little songs in there. And there's just all sorts of fun, spooky, cutesy characters like Oogie Boogie, for example. Jack Skellington himself is cute. Sally, the Zero, his ghost dog. Like, there's just so many cute little characters. I think it's on Disney Plus. I mean, it's you'll be able, this movie, you will be able to find it on at least one or two of the streaming services. It's pretty available, but definitely check it out if you've never seen it for some reason. Next up, this one is more of a lesser known. It's actually Finnish. So most of the movies in Finnish. There are some characters that speak English. So this one is called Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. It is about these people who live on the mountain, and there are other people on the mountain that are trying to dig up the ancient grave of the original Santa Claus because they want to put him in a museum or something, I guess, or sell him for tons of money. But they end up digging up the grave of the ancient Santa Claus, who, spoiler alert, is not a jolly good guy, okay? He's actually quite scary. And as soon as they unleash Santa Claus, hundreds of reindeer, which is one of the primary food sources for this village of people that live up on the mountain, they get massacred. So there's hundreds of reindeer massacred. The townspeople are trying to figure out what's going on. And slowly the kids from all the homes start disappearing. Main character, Petteri, he knows they dug up Santa Claus and he's trying to get to the bottom of what is going on, why all these things are occurring. Because not only are the kids disappearing, the reindeer were disappearing, home appliances, the heaters, furnaces, everything was disappearing. Little Petteri just steals the show. He is such an endearing little kid, and he is so smart and cunning, unlike most of the adults who just have no situational awareness whatsoever. I won't tell you why or if anything sad in particular really happens, but I like this movie so much more than I thought I would. Really and truly, I did not think I was going to put this movie on the list at all. Like, I was just going to turn it on, watch it, but I got hooked, you know, just from the first few minutes. And I mean, the cinematography itself was so gorgeous. There's just so many things that made this movie magical. This one's not like a horror movie. It's more of like a fantasy thriller. Now, I will make a spoiler alert because this one I would not say is family friendly, only because of the fact that there are so many naked Santas in this movie. Like, so many naked Santas, okay? I totally recommend to watch this movie. It's on Shudder right now. I don't know how long it's going to be on there. I'm assuming it's just going to be in the monthly rotation and be gone after Christmas. But otherwise, it's also on Prime Video. So definitely check out Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. It got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 89%, with the audience score being a 70%. So obviously, majority of the people that watched this movie did in fact enjoy it as well. Coming in at a number 2. Okay, you guys, obviously you already knew I was going to put Terrifier 3 on this list. I love the Terrifier series. I love Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, everybody involved. Okay. It just came out this year, but you know, it's a Christmas horror movie. Come on. He's dressed up. Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus, okay? Killing people and kills some fake Santa Clauses. Like, come on. That's a complete no-brainer for me. So Terrifier 3 is a direct sequel to Terrifier 2 and the third installment of the Terrifier series. Basically just following, 5 years after Sienna and Jonathan defeat Art the Clown, and Art the Clown and Vicky are dormant in a house for like a long time for some reason. I don't know why. So Art the Clown in the attic, like in the rocking chair, direct reference to Black Christmas from 1974. I love it. Art the Clown is just a really fun and ruthless character. He's just so funny to me. He is just a really fun, campy slasher villain. And the fact that he kills Santa Claus and steals his costume, it's great. Okay, it's great. It surprised me that Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 77%. I would have thought they would have gone a lot lower because it seemed like a lot of people did not like it. Just judging off a lot of the reviews that I've seen, it looks like there was a lot of people who did not like Terrifier 3 or don't like the Terrifier series in general. I mean, it's one of those things where if you like slasher movies and you like especially like campy, like 80s vibe slasher movies, you're going to love it. Obviously, the audience score was sitting at an 85%, which I'm not surprised whatsoever. Okay, guys, I'm sure you could have guessed my number one pick because I kept throwing references throughout the whole video because I could not help myself. Black Christmas from 1974. It is the Christmas horror movie. When you think about Christmas horror movies, the classics, you're going to think about Black Christmas. So Black Christmas 1974 was directed by Bob Clark. Fun fact, after he made this movie, he decided he did not want to make another horror movie. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Like, he could have been great, but he decided against it. So this one's the OG. Sorority girls begin receiving creepy phone calls that they suspect is a prank, but they do not realize that the culprit is a serial killer. So some of the sorority girls start to go missing one by one in the house, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Little do they know the serial killer is actually in the house with them at all times. And they got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 71% and an audience score of 75%. For once, the critics and the audience were kind of both on par with each other. Yearly tradition you would have on your rotations. It's just a classic holiday horror movie. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's on multiple platforms. I watched it on Tubi. It's also on Shudder and Screambox and Prime Video. It's everywhere. Like, you can watch it for free. You don't have to pay a monthly subscription. You can literally watch it on Tubi for free with ads. All right, guys, that is my video of my top 10 Christmas horror movies that you guys should check out. Thank you so much for watching. If y'all have any suggestions of other great Christmas horror movies that did not make it onto this list, please leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking to watch a new horror movie. I'm always looking for an excuse to watch another horror movie. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas and happy holidays.